Okay, a pleasant good day to you and yours, wherever you are, whoever you are. Sorry for a bit of delay, but you know how it is when you transition from one program into another. Had to do some setting up and so on and so forth. So thanks for your patience. You're now listening to Voices, and today we've got two guests. One, no stranger to WinFM 98.9. Another, not so much of a stranger, but a recent, uh, what should I say, a recent individual who have come into our embrace. Okay? So we're gonna, without any delay, we're gonna take you over to both of them. Good day, Africa, and good day to you, good Nubian sister.
Be more love.
Hi, good morning to you, Quint. Good morning to you, Cora. Good morning to the listening public. A few housekeeping first before we go into our set program. I just want to say condolences to the family of Culture, Vincy Culture Benjamin, an ardent listener, an ardent person who would have lent his voices over the years to these programs. He has passed, and so condolences to his family. May his ancestors receive him with open arms.
Yes, and the program is really yours, so whatever format that you have, flow with it, and where I feel I need to interject, I will.
Thank you so much. Greetings.
And please speak, get close as you can to the microphone and speak as clearly as so that we can all hear you, okay? Yeah.
Okay. Well, out there in the airwaves, listeners, I'd like to say greetings and good morning. Grand rising, I'm trying to say now. Because what I found out about good morning, you know where you come from, Brother Africa? You hear about this thing, good morning? You know, they say morning. Morning is what you do when people pass over, eh? So it's a kind of a sad, grieving kind of thing. And they say that back in the day when they used to bang our way and got our way as, they would say, they stolen people. They would kill 1 hour because our 1 hour we tried to get away. And in the morning when we get up, we would see the carcass dear. And when we see the carcass, we would be in mourning, sad. So what, so to speak, Massa would say to Awi is smiling with face and say, good morning. Because he know so good because now we get up, we mourning. So he's not so good. So I try to say grand rising instead. I change in my language. Anyway, have a good day. Well, I got so much things to say right now. So much, so much, so much. Anyway, we're here to talk about the village vibes with a Z. Boy, what the world needs now is love, sweet love, oh dear. It's the only thing. Mr. Quint, I don't want to even put Mr. Quint, Essential. Do you think you could find that record, Dionne Warwick? What the world needs now, it's a serious thing, you know. This here, what I got here, tuning forks, vibrational energy, 528 hertz, is a vibration of love. Tell you that. And if you don't believe me, go and have a look, or get a book, take a look, or go into meditation and receive divine intuitive information direct from creation. Well, we're going to talk about the village vibes with a Z because it's very important, you know. Practicing the village vibes. It's a system of shared values that enables us to live our motto, the collective. To live collectively. All we have to do that. To live for the greater good of the all. To live for the community, the collective community, work and responsibility. to live for the greater good. Village Vibes with a Z encourages and supports all generations to strive, thrive, stay alive in harmony with the ecosystem, with creation, improving longevity, even into infinity. That's true sustainability that allows the most high divine creator of all the omni-tree, omnipresent, omniscience. And what the other one?
Omnipresent, omnipotent.
Omniscience, omnipresent. Here we go again. Anyway, I'll come back to that. If anybody know, call in and tell us how we go. Anyway, so we say the omni-tree, the thread that links you and me, we to the Almighty. Tell you that. Brother Africa, with a K, the original way. Can I ask you please to let the peoples out there know what we're going to give, some of what we're going to give them over the next 3 months. Only the 3 months we're talking about right now, because it's the Village Vibes. And it will encourage social cohesion, adding sustainable communities and nation to be reckoned with. Brother Africa with a K, can you lead the way and tell us a little of what we're going to be getting?
Yes, Grand Rising to all, as Sister Chorus have said.
Excuse me. In this attire, please address me correctly. My name is More Love with an E. Please. As you were saying, Brother Africa.
More love.
Thank
More
you.
love.
More love.
Okay. So our views, our opinions, the program is solely set towards gearing tailored towards stimulating, provoking thoughts, also to ignite an interactive, robust discussion amongst ourselves, the guests, and the general public, the listening and the viewing public alike, in the atmosphere of respect for all views and opinions of others. Now, we have a set program which is going to go beyond today, as we are scheduled to grace our presence every second Wednesday of each month. So this program is set. It's going to be a follow-up towards what we attempt to do here today and beyond. And it's going to be interactive. We are inviting the general public and the likes to chime in. As we say, our views and opinion is just our views and opinion. You will have your own views and opinion, which will be always also be respected. So it's a set program that goes beyond today in the calendar of events, and it's centered, it's geared, it is centered towards the village vibes, who we are, what was the structure of the village prior to the kidnapping and bringing into other spaces, and the whole nine, the drama, the folklore, mansion bowl, all of that would be explained, and the interaction with our guests would also chime in and lend to what the village originally was and what the village has become. Pivotally, more vibes. Our sisters, our mothers, our women, our daughters, our wives was very central, because we grew up in some settings that we call the hunter-gatherer community. And it was the women who stayed at home and cared for the children while the men was out doing the hunting. And so the women has garnered a matriarchal foundation, which we see have been sidelined today. Today we enjoy what we call a patriarchy, but it wasn't always that way. So this is geared towards the calendar of event that will go a long way in terms of what we intend to stimulate in the minds of our people.
Let me interject here. I note that you place emphasis on the village vibe, and that reminds me of an old saying: "It takes a village to raise a child." So, speaking about the village vibe, and knowing how things were before we were shackled and brought along the Middle Passage to this place. Even when we were brought here, there was a village vibe, because I remember growing up when a neighbor, especially on a Sunday morning, would come to the fence and say, "Hey neighbor, you got any butter over there? So I need a little butter, you know." And so on and so forth. And the next neighbor might say, "Hey, you have a little sugar over there." And it was a sort of a bartering system, because we were all poor, struggling to survive, and we shared. Somehow we have drifted away from that now. We have our lovely little houses with our fences, and it seems as if though the fences today are bigger barriers than they should be. So speak to me.
Oh, well, brother quintessential, you hit the nail on the head, they said. It's a true thing, you know. It takes a village to raise a child, to support the parents, to support the elders, and all them in between. Even the queen. So, you talk about back a day when we used to really live in that fine-tuned collective way. And Brother Clark, Elder Clark with a E, who now passed on and gone over to the world of the ancestors. You know, he used to talk about when he used to sleep on a crocus bag on the floor and wear no shoes, and proud of it. And, you know, when me and he had chat, he tell me, say, it's kind of like when people get shoes, they get big, they get high, they get too big for themselves. They're better than you now. So, the less we have, the more less material things we have, the more things we have in terms of love and connection with the one another. You know, I would like to ask the listening audience about stories, because I hear stories. I hear stories of back a day, somebody wants to get married and don't got a dollar to rub together. And they decide that's what they want to do. But you know what? The village make it happen. Somebody got goat, somebody got cow, somebody got oink oink. All kind of things. Somebody got wife and wedding happen. I'd like to hear from the listening audience out there. You got any back of their story about how you used to live good and in glory, even though we never had no shoes and we bottom out a door sometimes? I want to hear a story about natural ways. You know, in the village, everybody cares, you know, because it's each one teach one. It's about survival. It's about perpetuating good values. The concept of the village, the order and the structure. We have natural counselors, natural healers with their remedies and their potions, natural teachers, death doulas. Yes, you don't know about them there? Find out. Birth doulas. Doulas is a thing where you have somebody from the time you know you're going into death. They're with you by your side. And they talk with you and you share things with them and they help you on your journey. And when it comes to like a doula, when it comes to a mommy having a baby, the doula, as they call it, would be with that person, get to know them, get to overstand. It's somebody just to help you out on your journey. Oh, I hear do. I don't know.
You have a call.
Talk.
Hello, caller.
Right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Hello.
Mrs.
I want to say good morning, though. I want to say grand rising, because I don't want to morning in the morning.
Glad rising, good morning.
Aye, I like that.
What is your name?
Oh, me? They call me More Love. What's the days?
More
Look
Love.
what happening to me now. They call me More Love. And what is your name there? What is your name?
My name is Sylvie Henry.
Oh, my headphones drop off, so I'm in a bit of a mess. Your name is who? Hold on. Oh,
Well, Africa should have told you.
Your name is who again, baby girl?
Africa, tell her properly.
What is your
Sylvine.
Sylvine.
Henry.
Ooh, Sylvine. How do you do, Sylvine, out there? What you saying? Talk to us.
I am here. I am intrigued with what you all are trying to do.
Oh,
So since I am old,
you're old, but you're not cold. You like me.
I refuse to get cold.
That's right. Never,
When they put me in the body bag, that's when cold come, right?
Aye, that's right. That's right.
Until then, I continue to live.
Ah.
Now, I grew up in the village, Hainsmith Village.
Which
Do you know
village?
where
Which
that is?
village?
Hainsmith Village.
Jane Smith, talk.
Do you know where Dr. William Connor School is? Or you're not from here, are you?
Hey, beg your pardon, my evil string is here. I beg your pardon.
Do you know where Dr. William Village School? You know about village school?
Okay, the village
The
school.
old grammar school?
Yes.
That area is called the village.
Yes.
So I was born on Millionaire Street
Ooh.
in poverty.
That's all right. Only poverty or
the name-
financial
the
things
name
what you
gave
got
you
to in
promise,
your
you know?
heart. Pardon me?
But it is, yes, promise. Now, when I grew up in the early 50s, because I was born 48, nearly everybody there was poor. I mean, poor, you know. You know, they got poor and poor.
Yes.
And the majority worked in the sugar industry.
Okay.
There was Buckley's Estate, Camps, West Palm, Shadwell. Some work as Pond's Estate. The men worked cutting the canes and packing the canes on the locomotive cart.
Uh-huh.
And the women work in gangs,
Okay.
dropping soda, putting the canes in bundles. The men, however, after they would have done their daily task, they would head to the hills. We know say mountain, right?
Yes.
But it's near Alex Shadwell, Buckley site. They all had what we just say mountain ground. So you got to learn to say mountain ground.
Yes, mountain ground. Oh, another one there. I learned that one from my daddy.
Yeah, we just say farm or holding, you know, but mountain ground.
Okay, mountain
And
ground.
my father was very amorous,
Okay.
so he had to work more than one piece.
Oh.
So he had one up by Shadwell, they call it sandy ground, and there was one on Buckley site where we plant potato, right where JNF is presently. It's a plant corn, sorrel, and potato.
Okay.
So we grew up on a lot of what you call ground food. You know ground food?
Oh, man, strong food.
That's what we used to say, not no vegetables, ground food.
Right.
So he made sure he planted enough sweet potatoes, dashi, and whatever. Cassava. We had a lot of cassava too. And we had so much that, cause when everybody poor and crop is over,
Yes.
my father would supply the neighbors with ground food
Okay. Okay.
because everybody was poor and hungry.
Amen to that. See?
My father would bring home a lot of cassava. He would reap them around that time. And all of us, my mother would scrape them, you know, take off the outer thing.
Yes.
And then we would grate them to make cassava meal.
Oh, yeah. It's a long
And
process,
she
isn't
would
it?
wring them to make starch, the juice. And so she would make cassava bread. Not those with coconut.
Wow.
They call them choky banjo.
Choky banjo.
Yeah, 'cause you know, when you eat them and you drink water, it seems to make it choking you.
Oh, me am.
Choky banjo. And we would hang them over the line. And the neighbors would come for their share.
Oh, see?
We would sell the cassava meal, which you would put in the flour for the dumpling
Okay.
or whatever, make porridge. But the village shop also helped to alleviate the hunger In that you could get credit.
Ah.
Because if there's no income coming in,
That's
you
right.
have to depend on the shops.
Mm-hmm.
And the owners were willing to wait until the crop starts for you to start to pay.
Okay, you see that?
So life was easy. I mean, you see, when everybody poor, you don't notice it.
Right.
You know that, right?
Yes, yes. And because we share when we poor, ain't it? When we poor financially, we share what we got.
We had to, because sometimes they themselves would have things that would help us to live.
Yes.
And as I said, we produce large quantities.
Yes.
We had yams, which father put in the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
We would have yams, tan your head.
Yes.
You know, so even when we couldn't buy anything, we ate.
You see? Food.
Sometimes the protein wasn't as plentiful as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But we would buy fish, or my father would fish during the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Because he came from Newtown. And some of the fishermen would catch sprat, you know sprat?
Oh, yes.
Man, sprat was plentiful. And you roast them
Mm-hmm.
on a flat iron. And you put them in vinegar and pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody was looking at sprat. Nowadays, they can't even see sprat.
They want salmon full of worm because
They
they not
want-
deal
they
with them
want-
properly.
Sliced fish, you know. I mean, and those who work as butchers,
Mm.
we just call them the inferior parts, but
Mrs.
Lord,
Henry,
you get the seed.
Mrs. Henry,
I don't name, hey.
Grand rising to you. I wanna pick your vivid memory. I would say
Yeah, go
vivid
ahead.
memory because I was so amazed a couple of days ago when you had as normal as usual, and you reminded us, you walked us back. I want to pick your memory because you're an elder, you're a matriarch, and what was the method in the village of raising money? Are you familiar with the
Oh,
word
yes,
susu?
yes. Well, we didn't say the susu.
What?
The partner hand.
Partner hand, okay.
That's right.
Either or,
Partner hand,
yes.
nobody knew no susu.
Yes, okay.
And they would use the most trusted person because they would always say that. And basically when crop is on, that's when most of the thing would take place. They took turns. And like my mother, she would choose a turn far down so that when she got her money, she could buy maybe thing to make uniform, school clothes, you know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was common,
Yes.
both among the laboring class and those who work in stores and so in town.
Yes.
Because in terms of banking, there really wasn't any commercial bank that they could really go to with it.
That's right.
So
$10,
therefore, you women are the ones who are responsible for commerce. This is what we're talking about. It is all encompassing of the conversation we want to have.
Yeah, commerce. Because remember, unlike the African thing, where the women did the agriculture, the men were the main ones who did the agriculture, you know.
No,
In South
I beg
Africa,
to
the
differ.
places-
I
Right?
beg to differ.
Well, she meant here. She
In-
meant when
oh,
we
in
came.
St. Kitts?
Yes, when we came.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, good.
The men would go to the hills or whatever because it's a matter of survival. And having work all day, and they used to get children by the bundles, you know. No, it's true in my
But we
village.
need to. We need to. We was getting better food then, and the workforce is needed to be able to hands on the field, hands in the field. Yes. Can I just
They are
ask?
in the amount. Look, don't talk about potato.
Oh.
Potato was the staple, you know. I remember
which
when we go
potato?
to
Which
school,
potato?
we used to boil
Which-
them, roast them.
Which
Then you
potato you
got coal
talking?
pot. Every coal pot, we call it the flue. You know the flue.
Sylvine?
The part where the wind goes in.
Okay. Yes.
We would stack smaller potato in there, put them all around the pot on the fire. And because I love roasted potato.
Sylvine, can I ask you about a potato? You ever hear of one? They call it Eversure. It's like a ready vine, and the potato kind of purpley.
Kind of, yellowish kind of potato?
No, it kind of purpley, and they call it.
Oh, I
hear
know,
an
I
elder
know,
say
but
call
I
it
never really heard a
Eversure.
name for it.
Okay, is a elder no from Kayana? She told me they call it Eversure because no matter
Oh,
what.
well, maybe different. But
Yeah.
you know something interesting about potato? The estate used to give out the fallow land, you know what I mean by fallow?
Mm-hmm.
To the workers. And they could take whether one row or two rows, depending on the ability to handle it.
Right.
My father would take 2 rows, you know. My brother, them used to be so vexed. Plant 2 rows of sweet potato. And it coincided with the opening of school, which of course, crop hadn't started yet.
Okay.
So that was one way of being able to feed. And they would plant put the 2 rows of potato, do the weeding. They would intercrop. Sometimes they plant yam between them. Or
Intercrop?
sorrel and so.
Okay.
Or cassava. And so when crop time, even people who did not work on the estate, took whether a row or half row. That is when we would say potato knocking dog. Because everybody had potatoes. And you know, potatoes, they don't last very, very long like yam. You know that?
Okay. What are you telling me?
So you have to try and get rid of them by a certain time. But the Anguillians used to come up. The Anguilla boat or the schooner.
Okay.
And they would come to the village and buy.
So what is
Right.
export? You export the potatoes?
Yeah. They used to come and buy animals too.
Well,
Or
we
to
need
keep
to start get back into that. We need to go and knock on the government door and tell them, say, come on, we need to export
But the
better than
Anguillians don't
now.
have the boat anymore. They were called schooners.
You see?
Things you know. Africans are young.
We should got them back. What you say? Sylvine, you think we should got them back? Them boats?
Yeah, because right now the farmers are producing without very little option to export.
Don't get me started.
But when you see they have potato, you try to roast them, you boil them, you do, oh gosh.
And what you say about the dog again? How we go about the dog? Potato and knock dog?
Yeah, that's a statement we use when it is very abundant.
Yes.
Mrs. Henry.
Hello?
We're going to take a bit of a break. You wanna call back, Miss Henry?
I'll call back. I'll call back.
Yeah, we're going to take a bit of a break.
Thanks.
Have a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Building supplies, electrical supplies, furniture, appliances, carpets and tiles. It's the company where you can get it all. All at TDC, home and building depot. From lawn and garden, the TVs and stereos. All at TDC, home and building depot. Come on down, get what you're looking for. It's all at TDC, home and building depot.
Campari, Red Passion, embrace the mix.
Campari, Red Passion, full action, this is Red Passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari, Red Passion, make the nicest mix. Campari!
Campari, Red Passion, embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
And you're in tune to Win FM 98.9. The time is approximately 10:42, and we have More Love, Sister More Love, and Africa here, giving us a sort of a flashback to the sort of a colloquial or Caribbean way of flashing back into our history, delving back into when it was more of a cohesive unit as family and how we move from then up until now. Now, recently, when Sylvian was speaking, and she spoke to the fact that sisters from neighboring islands, like specifically, she spoke to Anguilla, who came here, and Sister Cora or More Love interjected and said, "So that means that we did exportation, we exported." So the question is, how is it that back in the day when we were more of a unified family unit, and we did our, as a poor family, as poor families, we did our farming and were able to do enough so that we could export? How is it that in this modern time, when everywhere, every time we hear the word sustainability, and yet still we're far from sustainable because we have not been doing exportation? So both of you get back in and speak to the people.
Yes. Firstly, though, I want to quote from our Honorable Marcus Garvey, a quotation of his many quotations. And this would really inculcate what we have lost and what we should regain. And Marcus Garvey said, "A people without the knowledge of the past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." We don't need to be rootless trees in this day and age. So we hope that we can stimulate, provoke thoughts, and with the interaction of the general public, bring about, foster about the camaraderie, so to speak, of what it used to be. Go and ask your granny, go and ask your grandfather, go and ask the elders in the community. And our communities are so losing it, you know. There was a tree that was so old, older than probably any living individual in the communities. And in my own humble opinion, the material of that tree that was cut down, hewn down, should be going back towards the community to tell a story of its own.
Which tree is that you're talking about?
I am referring to the mahogany tree
Yes, I know
that
which
was
one.
cut down for some reason, 300 or 400-year-old tree that has many stories to be told. And it seems like it ended up in the private hands. No regard for the community. Private individuals probably have that tree and don't understand giving back in your own little way. Let what is in the community remain there.
Is it that they don't understand, or is it that they don't care to understand? That's the question. I would venture to say perhaps they don't care to understand.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Correction.
Yes.
They don't care to understand nothing about life. For the fact that the tree was a living entity.
Now, Sister Cora or More Love spoke to something that I want her to go back to, and that was when an individual was passing, and there was a individual or individuals around them helping them in that passing. Now, I bring up that because it goes back to what Africa is speaking to in terms of the trees. Back in our history, we had an affinity, we had a unity with the plant life, with the trees. We felt that the trees were knowledgeable and they held the spirits of our ancestors. So that is why when he sees a tree like that, as old as it was being hewn down, it sort of hits him hard because he knows the importance of the trees to humanity. And even in our modern day society, we know that if we don't have the trees and the plant life, we as human beings cannot exist.
That's right.
One something. Let me interject here for
Yeah.
1 second. There is it's official in Africa. They have experiment citrus trees, a eucalyptus tree, and an avocado tree. And they are extracting electricity out of trees, the roots of the trees.
That's right. Because when when we get thunder and lightning, when we get the lightning, you have a look. If you plant a seed the night before the lightning, see what happened the morning after the lightning. Because the lightning feeds it, and especially like we living on fertile lands, magnetic soil. You say zung zung zung, sika pong pong dang dang, pop, get a leaf in the morning.
So this conversation is to arouse, to spark thoughts, and the listening audience, the viewing audience, give your views.
Yes,
We want an
please.
interaction.
Yes, please. Family is the fabric of society, shared values, and we perpetuate all the natural things that we need in the cultural living activities and practice.
Now,
to be
Sister Marla,
sustainable.
before pause there a while, I want you to go back and elaborate on in more detail the passing of an individual, and yes, I want you to do that.
Can I just touch on this?
Yes,
first?
go ahead.
Sylvine, and Brother Africa with the K. We're talking about the money and how we did with the financial things in the community. Hey, piece of news. Credit union. Credit union is what we did. Our banking system and Western mind see it and turn it into what is now called credit union.
Yes,
On the African continent, it got different names, and one of the name I love it in Gambia. In the fuller people they call it pudding. They put in all the money in there, they get pudding. Anyway, so what you were saying again now?
I wanted you to elaborate on when an individual was dying and the process. What happened really?
Well, the process. You have something called a death doula. And a doula is a person who is attached to you, accompanies you along your journey, whether it's birth, death, or whatever it is, even if it's trauma. Because you could have got a trauma, and the trauma sticking to your head and got you bent. So you have a doula who just be with you, talk and you talk. So we did death doula now, in terms of the journey. My condolences. Okay, let me just take a moment. When it comes to the death doula, somebody is passing, and your death doula would be there. They'd introduce and they'd know. Because they're from the village, so you would know. So you get to say, well, okay then, say, is me passing? And Brother Africa with a K is going to be my doula. So he'd say, Sister Cora, I'm more love, whichever one it's to be, you're passing through. So, let me hold your hand and you hold my hand and we go on the journey. And they talk about life and the passage into death, life without breath. And there is times where if you are with somebody when they're about to take the last exhale, sometimes you get them, they look up in the corner and they start to talk and they say, oh, hello, auntie, hello, mommy, hello, cousin, hello, all the loved ones that they don't go and pass before them. And if you ask them, when they get a moment, what going on there? They will tell you, but the death doula knows. So the death doula would say, oh, so you see cousin so and so. So, and they would let the person who is passing talk. And the death doula, their role is to assist the person who is passing, to not be scared to, to comfort them and say, it's cool, it's Ivy, you're seeing this and you're getting this and you're getting that. No, on that journey, the doula would share such a intimate space and area with that person. That person would confide and, so to speak, they would say in religion, confess and do all them things there with the death doula before they go. So they is like the Egyptians say with the feather. You got the feather, me got a feather here too, I got one here, peacock somewhere. And it symbolizes the connection with the unseen world feathers. That's why you see we back a day got a feather stick up all over the place. What up, so? Because it's a connection with the unseen, just like water. But anyway, so the death doula know they would walk that journey with that person, allow them to be able to offload and share, and also to explain. You getting a little. You might say to me as a doula, more love. It look like you're feeling a little chill or something. That's all right. It's this and that happening to you. It's just like labor. When things start to go on in your belly and you say, oh, me, I'm going on here now. The birth doula might say, it's all right. That funny feeling you get is only this and that and tara and the other. So then you make you feel cool and calm and you don't have to get stiff and tense and tear up yourself. Okay. So have I answered what you wanted me
Yes,
to do?
most definitely.
Okay.
Because you see, I wanted you to delve into that because it shows the people that what we call Christianity today, we were always a spiritual people. And we were so spiritual that even when one was passing from this life into the next, it was seen as a journey not to be feared.
Oh, yes.
And so there was someone who held your hand and said, take it easy. You're moving from this life into the next life. And because of the link that that person had with their spiritually, that doula, they could see what you see because you held their hand. And because of the holding of the hand, the touching of the flesh, the linking of the spirits, they were with you on that journey. So they could say, more love, I see your cousin over there. She's beckoning you to come. She's ready for you. She's with open arms. They have been longing for your journey into this realm. So when I hear people say, we as a black people invented Christianity, I differ. It was not Christianity. It was spirituality. It morphed into what many people called Judaism. And out of Judaism, you find the Jews adopted that, and the present days so-called Jews. You see how horrible they are to the people who they are trying to take lands from. But all that aside, what I want and what you both are doing is giving us a clearer picture of back then and showing that even though it was back then, there's a link between then and now. And what we lost then, we have to find a way to get it back.
Sure.
That spirituality, for instance, Africa, that spirituality, that link of not fearing the other realm, the journey into that other space, we need to find that spirituality where we can transcend from here to there in a more peaceful manner. But we can only get that when we understand self. Go ahead.
True.
And so Sister Molov spoke about the feather, and we observe as we go down by the cenotaph, and we see a sort of scale on the judiciary. It's obvious, it's there to be seen. So that feather, and Bob Marley spoke about light like a feather, heavy as lead. And we always hear about, you have a heavy heart. That feather and your heart, it's on both sides of that scale, okay? And your heart ought not to be the heavy, burdensome way of every stressful ordeal we take on a daily basis. Because at that moment of your transition, your heart should be as light as the feather.
There's a natural mystic blowing through the air.
This is what we are attempting to
You
bring.
think we could get that one day?
And not to fear transition.
If you
Transition will come to all of us when the time is due. Not to be afraid of it. Because if you're afraid of it, you're going to make it more difficult for you to cross over.
100% and 100%.
Because the grave is not the end of us.
We have a caller.
Yes, good day.
Good day.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Good day.
Greetings, good
Yes,
day.
and,
Who is you?
and greetings. I am a Christian guy by the name of Gregory Gill.
Hello, Gregory Gill. Greetings
Yes.
to you.
Yes, and like I said, greetings in the name of Jesus Christ, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity.
Okay,
Now,
Gregory.
one of the things that I'm calling to say is this. With all due respect, You know, Jesus Christ said, don't fear man who could only destroy the body, but fear God who could destroy both body and soul into hell. And if you don't repent, you're going to perish forever in hell. So I go along with the Bible.
That's right.
No.
Do what you got to do.
No. Secondly, you know, the only person who I heard mention this issue, I'm not saying that it's not the only time it was mentioned, but I'm talking from what I have heard. From what I've heard, the only person who mentioned this issue that used to happen in the African villages was the late Dr. Kuba Assagai. And even though I disagreed and argued with him on many issues, on this issue, I agreed with him, at least somewhat. And the issue was this. In the African villages, you had a council of elders.
Hi, talk to me.
Yes, you had a council of elders. Right. And they were like judges and so on for those villages. And when you had problems, you would go to this council and try your cases with you and whoever. And what they said carried a lot of weight. Okay. Unlike our judicial system today.
Oh, yes,
and
talk.
Hello?
I said, oh, yes, talk. Talk to us there. Talk. Gregory Gill.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and that system was a very close system to the Bible because it was very decentralized and similar to what God instructed Israel to have. And so the only person who I heard mention it was the late Dr. Kuba Assagai. And, you know, I wanted to shake his hand on that one.
Oh. Well,
yeah,
you
I wanted to shake his hand on that one.
Close your eye and imagine it and send some good vibration and send it anyway.
Mm-hmm. So I really call in to mention that issue. And when it came to agriculture, especially in the African society, it was really both a man and a woman thing, and children and so. Because you used to have the family farm, for example, and both male and female in the family would go out and farm their land.
Okay.
Because it was a family thing.
Gregory, sorry,
hello?
Gregory. Talk away. Sorry, I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah, and now, but the thing is, but when it came to like such thing as catching water from the river, that was really the woman thing. The men used to do it. As a matter of fact, if a man gone do it, it was looked at as something very shameful to go catch water for the home from the river. So that was very interesting. And then you would have the king. In some tribes in Nigeria, you call it the Igwe, you know, and his council was really made up of women. I'm sorry, of men. And even in the exceptional cases where you had a woman as leader, I think they were called, well, in some African language, I think in Igbo as well, they were called the Lolo. Even her council that she had seemed to me it was mostly made up of men, even when it was a woman in those exceptional cases on the throne. So, you know, but I really call in more to emphasize the local councils, which I think we missed out here.
Yes.
And not only that, but they never used to have police like we have them here.
Right.
What would really happen is that if you did something that was criminal and you needed to be taken to the court, the people of the villages, especially the youths, would come and take you to the council for you to be judged. And if you need to be banished, you'll be banished by the youth. If you need to be banished from the village, or whatever, but the council, what they decided really carried a lot of weight in trying cases and that sort of stuff.
And let me sort of interject here, because recently Chesley Hamilton was here and he spoke to the fact that we want our, it seems as if though our judicial system, maybe linked with the AG, the present AG, are trying to introduce a means of having a one judge system where you just have one individual. And the importance of knowing our history. Here we're speaking about a council of elders who came and judged and used their reasoning and rationale between each other to come to a conclusion. But in this modern system now, we want to go back to archaic, or where you have just one person being the judge and jury. That cannot be.
That's a big porridge of corruption.
Yeah. So so
Yeah.
this is why our history is important as a people. Remember, we are like no other people on the face of the earth. We are black people. We are Nubian people. We are highly melanated. So don't take other people's practices and try to impose them on us. Go ahead.
Yeah, but our judicial system is too centralized. It needs to be like I said, as it was in the African system, which I say is very close to the biblical system. I should say even in line with the biblical system.
Oh, that's nice.
Where like I said, the villages had their own councils and that sort of stuff. And I also love it because a lot of people think that having a police force is necessary, which really goes against the Bible. Like I said, the system, like I said, they use in Africa as well as ancient Israel and that sort of stuff. The people of the community is who take you to the courts for you to be judged.
Amen.
And that sort of stuff.
Amen,
Okay.
Gregory
Okay,
Gill.
Thank you.
we're going to
you
take
very
a
much
bit
for
of
your
a commercial
contribution.
break, and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people, Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices, Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty, Rams is always here. We are community, we are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
If you need insurance, our service is the best. Home motor insurance can give you more for less. Property insurance can save you a lot of stress. At TDC Insurance Company Limited, we care about your investment. Guarantee you peace of mind. The best team in the business. Guarantee you peace of mind. No other
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
You ever hear earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
And we are back with you on Voices for Today, and as we have said before, ongoing on the second Wednesday of every month, we will have Brother Africa and Sister Cora, or More Love, and they will be taking us on a walk, a journey into the village life on the Mother Africa, and the village life right here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. You may continue.
And something that's been said about agriculture and farming. You know, we know that this land here is called Laimiga, fertile lands, and Owali, meaning beautiful waters. I hearing so much things about with how you call it, what society?
There's a society, the agri-farm, the farmers.
Yeah, we're an agriculture society. We deal with agriculture.
Yeah, agri-crop.
So, okay. So, here on fertile lands, Laimiga, we got a terrible situation that's going to get better. Because we got all this food growing abundantly. Government set up a scheme and say, farmers, you want to grow this, you want to grow that. One farmer say he want to grow cabbage, and government say, bring your cabbage. He bring his cabbage. Then they say, okay, well, you don't need to bring no more cabbage for now. So he got a lot of cabbage getting bad on his land. So I just want to say, just like how Sylvian was saying about how the potato come so till potato are not dog. Then we need to know we've got this fertile land here. It is our piece of the rock, piece of the planet to look after, to nurture to its full potential. So let we do better than that. Farmers, talk your talk in decent, full respect, and let's do what we need to do to export and get the ship them back running again. Because big need to listen to small. So if you is a big tree, boo-doo-doop. How we go? Got
a small axe.
Okay then.
Just to follow up on that, having privy to the breakthrough in Africa, where the experiment has been done, where you have this eucalyptus tree, less lighten, the citrus tree a little bit better, but the avocado tree is a fruit that we enjoy here. Shouldn't we make best of that information and start an avocado tree planting revolution so we can get electricity from avocado, get in touch across the Atlantic, because the interlinkage with Africa and the diaspora should be have. Mm-hmm. We heard of the Prime Minister went to Nigeria. He should go there for more things than one. Make inquiries. You are equipped with that information. You're going across the water. Find out where is this genius guy who came up with such a brilliant idea that can extract electricity from a fruit tree that we have and should be prevalent amongst us.
Wow.
and start that sort of
That's right.
revolution. Let us start our own revolution in our own ways for more than one reason.
Let's, what I say, curtailed resources running wild. Too much of we get rid of some. There are too many who have none. We got all these natural resources, of course. Hey, I watch a YouTube, and the YouTube has some people in the African continent, and they had some material way up in the 10 foot, and the material catch some east wind, what got rain in the wind, and the wind blow, and the water run down the material, and they make water to water the crop. Hallelujah. Some might say, we got all we need. We have all we need. We just come so far from the natural way. But one day we got to go back.
And this is our attempt to really evoke thoughts.
Provoke,
you know,
yes.
yes.
Yes, provoke, yes.
And stimulate thoughts.
Yes.
To have this discussion.
I myself am not too au fait with this recent discovery of electricity from the trees. I would have to do some research on that. But I do know that way back when I was young, and anyone can look at me and say I'm not a young person anymore, but way back when I was young and I was doing engineering, I did come across a discovery that, for instance, the carrots that we use to eat, whenever you pull it up, because if you put certain very, very sensitive things, equipment to frequency, and if you attach it to the carrot, whenever you pull up the carrot, you would actually hear the carrot scream. You would actually hear the carrot scream at a high pitch that the human ear cannot hear. So it tells us that these are living things.
Oh, yes.
And we know that these electrolytes is very important to the human being and the human element and the human health. That is why we need to eat a lot of plants that are electrolyte based and so on and so forth. So as we learn more, we will get a better understanding, because you know the old saying, there's nothing new under the sun. It has been here before. So as we learn, as we delve back into our history, perhaps we will be enlightened to help us in this so-called modern era.
Because you know what does go on? Thank you so much for that, brother man. You know what does go on? They get a natural substance, and because the big companies, corporations can't make money out of natural substance, they go away and they make the synthetic. And then when you get the synthetic, it's like medicine. They give you a natural substance, and it do its job. It's plant-based electrolytes, it do its job. But then the greedy pharmaceuticals say, no, we want our money. So we're not going to give them the natural because we can't do that, because they can hang we up and mess we up. So we're going to the lab and we're going to make a synthetic, and we're going to give it to them. Do you know they say statistically, when you're in hospital and they give you medication when you're real sick, they say when you get synthetic medication, your body uses so much energy to try and decipher what come in. You're dead out before the medication sink in.
Yeah.
But if they was to give you a bush now, everything cool and airy.
But you see, I'm glad you made that point. And I know a lot of medical people are not going to be happy to hear this. What they use against us is they say, what is the scientific proof? How much you must use? What is the dosage? Now, to some extent, they have a point. But our elders knew a lot of that stuff before. We have lost it. We don't know. Look, there were elders who could tell you, take 2 leaves of that, and 1 leaf of that, and 2 drops of that, and you boil that, or you extract from it whatever means they had of extracting the oils from the plant, and they will tell you, use a half a teaspoonful of that, or 2 drops on your tongue. But we've lost all of that. And the modern system doesn't tell you, look, you lost that and you need to find ways of getting it back. They just simply say, what is the scientific proof? What is the dosage? So we lean towards the synthetic, as Morlov says, and the body now, in trying to adjust and extract from the synthetic so that it could be of use to the body is using up an extra amount of energy that it shouldn't have to. It should be natural so the body just absorbs it. But the sciences don't tell you that.
No.
But the synthetic only deal with the alleviation of the
Cause,
present.
not the effect.
Yeah.
Or the effect
Yes,
of the
it's
cause.
not the cure. I did a post on it, because every plant that you see have its own property within. And our elders were so observant that they observed these things. They observed the planetary bodies, and they could have told you, because it just recently telescope came into, and the Dogons knew about the alignment of the stars and Sirius A, B, and C, and so forth. All of this. But the scary part of it is that a certain name in a certain culture, okay, because you have the Ifa, you have the Yoruba Ifa, and you have the Adagbe, and other groups of people who call their science by different names.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm alluding to a word that came via the French, which is called vaudon or vaudon. Okay? That it is a science, it's a study of that plant and its medicinal properties within that plant that, because the word vaudon in its true sense means the essence of all things. So the essence of that plant that was extracted to bring about a cure, not a stopgap measure in terms of pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is lately that came into.
Hello, Carla. What you saying? Talk. Let me hear what you got to
Hi,
say.
hi. Yeah, I was waiting for my cue. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good day.
Good day. Now speaking about the medicine.
Uh-huh.
I am in the United States, the
Okay.
so-called concrete jungle, right?
Yes.
And I adopted a lot of my grandfather's whereabout bush medication.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I emphasize on up until this day, I had to be physically injured in order for me to go to a doctor.
Okay.
But then you have different pain modes in your stomach. Everything is all about your gut. And especially with the common cold or sore throat,
Mm-hmm.
I carry this remedy with me. And the ingredients are lime juice or lemon juice. I prefer using it from the bottle because you have quantity than to squeeze a lime or lemon. You mix that with a little salt and water and vinegar. And you know what vinegar does, the vinegar that we clean meat with. Look at vinegar when you throw it on meat. And you see how we extract all those slimy things?
Yes.
That's the same thing we'll do for the common cold, especially when it's fresh. That thing will cut the cold, and then in the night when you go into bed, you just drink some lemon juice with the same water.
Yes.
And you go to bed. And I'm telling you, within hours, you will be jumping around like a kitty cat.
Because it clear out all the mucus, don't it?
Because it cut the mucus.
Yes.
Whether it's in your head or your throat or your esophagus.
Okay.
It cut it out, man. Especially
Yes.
vinegar. It do wonders.
Wonderful.
And that's what I live with all the time.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that
And-
remedy.
And last but not least, I know Cartincia was on the other show earlier with Quinn, but I heard her complain that her throat didn't feel well, her head and everything. And I gave her a remedy, but she ain't come back and tell me, boy, Winston, I work, I no work. But she's speaking good, so I believe there was results.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for sharing all that you share with us. And we'd like you to call back again,
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much. Have yourself a beautiful day. Stay in the Creator's way. I just want to talk about, we're talking about the pharmaceutical people, them who do all them things. They say that the pharmaceutical companies, they talk about treatments, not cures, because they want patients for life.
Yes.
They don't want to heal nobody. No. They don't want to fix nobody. And way back in 1999, they had this big clear out of naturopathic remedy people and they kill out so much. Sebi went in as well. Dr. Sebi went in that too. They was killing them out because they was saying the same thing. Oh, you don't have no proof, but we got centuries of proof. You want scientific proof, but the thing is, you know what? What we had ancient technology, ancient knowledge is only now scientists are get to overstand, you know, and they're still looking and digging. My, what a something. You see, I want to talk about we matter, you know, because tick tock going along. The time is ticking away. I want to ask something about, first of all, let me say thank you very much for all those contributing who did pick up the phone and get you to the lines and talk with us. It was very nice to have you talk with us. Village Vibes, our motto, country above self, is about collective systems, ways of being. Listening audience, I want to ask you a question. I would like somebody to call in and just educate I and lots of others too. Come true, caller. How do you do? Caller. Talk to me, caller. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, greetings. Good day to you.
Oh, a bit time, has time run out?
No, keep talking. Who's you be?
Oh, I am Sylvine.
Oh, Sylvine, I think I did recognize your voice. Hello again, Sylvine. I must try to find another
Yes,
word.
I went to answer a call for my daughter, but I wanted to make an input in terms of the trying cases.
Trying cases.
In my village, there was the Unity Friendly Society.
Okay.
Called them Black and White.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the Heart and Hand. That was before you had all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were a member of the society, the uniform was black and white. Mm-hmm. And these are basically agriculture workers, estate workers, people at the bottom. If you and somebody, whether they were a member or not, had some problem, you could take the matter to the society, and they would try the case, give you punishment if you need it, make you pay. So people didn't just run to the court. In fact, you were not encouraged. And even the churches tried cases too.
And it's a more natural way, wouldn't you say so, Sylvine? Because
yes,
they're looking for money. People go to study for years and they want to live a big life because they spend so much time studying. So they're going to charge you for every little thing. If they write 2 words per letter,
yeah, but
they want to charge you money.
We need to trust what we had or what we have.
That's right. So,
yeah.
Or
if there was somebody of prominence in the village, they would take the matter there, you know.
That's right.
Come, let's go down by Mr. So-and-so.
Yeah.
And they would put the case.
Yes.
And he would give his verdict.
Yes. And
if he said you have to pay the man for the sheep you kill or whatever. Or if you were rude or whatever. They would give you you got to pay so much time you couldn't speak in the meetings. And people took the punishment them seriously, you know.
Yes.
Nowadays we run into the courts for nothing.
Yes. So we have a strong case to bring back a more how can you say a more fairer way of having a judicial system within the community.
It was because the person who offended and the person who carried the case, they believed in the judgments given.
Okay.
Now, if they did not trust the person, they wouldn't go there.
No.
But it was a matter of trust.
Right.
So, you know, sometimes there's a lot of abusing, what we call abusing, cursing and so. You're a member of the association, or they call them the society.
Yes.
Even sometimes for bad words and so, they carry you there.
Yes. Because they're keeping the community clean
keeping
with
order
words and behavior.
And the older people too.
Yes.
The people say, look, come, let's go down by Miss So-and-so.
Yes.
She was held in high repute, eh?
Because it's like community police, don't it? Natural community police.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of that, we need more of that. We need
I
more
tell
of
you,
that.
it was strict, and don't talk about everybody telling on you.
Oh.
Lord, you do something. Miss Burner, God, what's my mother, Miss Burner? Miss Burner, well, not me, but the obstinate brother. But we did so and so, so and so. So she wait until your father come home.
Yes.
And the father will decide the case, you know? So that there were avenues outside of the legal system to get redress.
Yes.
Mrs. Henry.
Hello, sir.
Earlier, Quint alluded to a conversation he had with a lawyer. I think it's Chesney Hamilton. And he spoke about where the judiciary, where they're going, where it might be. If we, the citizens, stay silent and don't raise our voices, that it will just be a one-person decision to make instead of the jury system of 12 persons. So
let me tell you something, see? The jury system has been so corrupted. See, we are the corrupted, eh? Where people on the jury, our friends were paid, and they actually went in to the case with their own verdict. You know that, right?
but is not
No,
a
I asked you,
is
do you know that?
is it a pool of jurors that they select from that you
They
could
selected
you
from the
cannot
community.
broad brush one particular case that some corruption might have occurred as
Might have.
opposed to all of the
standard.
cases that would be have. Is it not a pool of jurors that they select from, and they would not be the same persons they select every time?
Listen to me. If I am related to you, and I was picked as a juror, I feel I have certain allegiance to my family to make sure I get away. So even though there was a pool and there were civil servants and whatever, and you choose, if nobody objected to you, you're on to. How many times have hung jury when everybody from listening, going to the courthouse, sitting down and listening, now the person guilty? And before this case happened, they can't come with nothing.
Yes.
We have been so corrupted.
Yes.
I mean, you might as well face it. We are being corrupted.
Yes.
People are being paid.
Can I ask you, Sylvain? Can I ask you? Then we have a good case to say that each village would be wise to start looking at developing like the council of elders, trusted people within the community that are respected to do.
It sounds good, you know. But you see something, see politics. Even villages are divided along political lines.
Of course.
So you got so you think I'm going to send my party people to jail for you? You crazy?
So
I'm sick.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we got to accept the fact that our people have been so corrupted over the years.
Yes.
You don't know who to trust.
That's right.
So while it sounds good, some liars,
Man to man.
you know who to pick on. I mean, we're past to the 90s. When you want to know a bit, the people are serious. You go to court and hear the evidence. And you want to know what's going on. So criminals are allowed to go free because some of them threaten the people's lives too.
Yes, that's why
And
they got
it is,
police.
why should I sacrifice my life for something that does not really concern me personally? All of these things we got to face the facts. So while it sounds good, right? While it sounds good, maybe we need to re-examine and examine these people again and again.
Yes.
And the lawyers too.
Yes.
Because the lawyers contribute to the corruption.
Can I ask you?
You don't think so?
Yes, I agree.
100%.
I agree.
100%. Well, you know,
Yeah,
they have
some of them, I want to know a bit.
Can
The lawyer didn't
I
hear the
just share
evidence.
something with you, my dear? They have something called legal ease, you know. When a lawyer speaks to us, ordinary, everyday people, lay people, They speak in ordinary twist up English and local tongues.
Yes, when I hear some of them.
But when listen to them speak together, they call it something called legal ease. It's a special language between them, you know.
Yeah.
So me and you is friend because we solicitor.
I did some studying in law. Right? So when I hear some, I say, hear them now.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know these people kill people and they get away.
Yes.
And the people, they know which lawyer to hire based on the case.
Yes.
Based on what they call it, the rate of success.
Sylvine, Sylvine, I have to say to you, I thank you so much for your input. Right about now, because of the time and time constraints.
Yeah,
yes, but we'd like you to
before
have
I
you
go,
back
before I
again.
go, let me
Maybe
send
one day we could invite you
condolences.
to come in, you know, and talk something to us. Yes, and teach.
I could talk on the phone. By the way, I'm totally blind.
That say anything? What does that say? You mean you can't see with your eye, but you can see, you don't know.
Anyway, I would say the same thing at the station. The station steps to me now. I used to go up there every week.
Choo-choo.
Some turn so.
What?
Anyway, I want to send condolences down to St. Paul's to my Freeman family. Florina Freeman, my mother's cousin. All of you Freeman down there. My mother's brother, children. She lost her son, so to Karina and all the Freemans down there. My deepest condolences to you.
Condolences also.
All right then.
Okay.
Likewise.
Thank you very much, my dear. May the Creator continue to bless and guide you. Okay. Can I want to ask the audience a question, you know. I want to find out about our motto, because our motto is about collective systems of being. So I want to find out, please somebody enlighten us. How? Oh, we have a call? Come in, Carl, and let me hear what you have to say. Who you be?
Hello, good morning. Good morning and peace to you all.
Greetings,
God
good day
bless
to
you.
you and peace to you too. What a lovely tone.
Okay.
Who you be?
My name is Lincoln David Pell.
Lincoln David who?
Pell. David Pell is the surname.
Okay, Pell. David Pell.
Right. Now, question. I'm listening to the topic. How many of you there, how many persons in the who have contributed to the program will willingly accept right now if their child go down the road, do something wrong, and an adult rather talk to that person, pointing out the wrongs are right, and would appreciate it? I ask the question because, yes, it is not that our parents, and even if you want to say that our forefathers, then somewhere along the line we were failed by persons who are older than us. And well, I'm just saying, not me, because I still try to let persons know, hey, if you see my child doing something wrong, I prefer if you correct them for me, for them not to go seriously in trouble, I have to pay money. There's not a lot of persons like that. My children are adults now. You could ask my friends and make sure I told my friends I couldn't do that to my children, because I prefer my friends, my family, or even a stranger to talk to my friends. I see them throwing a stone, people around, houses around, and glass could be broken, to stop them and talk to them. But the question is, how many persons today will appreciate that? And that's the question we have to ask. Because it is good to come and say, back in the day and so forth, but somewhere along the line, failure step in.
Yes.
And it boils down to me, and I, and that's it. Even to today, there are some parents, whether it's husband or wife or just boyfriend or girlfriend, will tell the other, do not hit my child, do not talk to my child. So you see where the problem is.
Yes.
There's a breakdown.
Yes.
And therefore, it doesn't matter what we talk about, culture used to be and culture used to be. And it's not only happening in the black race, so to speak. In a lot of the races.
It's global.
So it is not that it's just race. It boils into a spiritual warfare that is happening here. We are losing not just black people, But people throughout the world, because what we are living in now in a society is where wrong is not right and right is not wrong.
Well, they say we're living in the matrix. The young ones tell me, say they're living in the matrix, and they show me this and they show me that. And I say, ooh,
Right?
ooh.
But I must then say this though before. There's nothing new under the sun. Now, and that comes from the scriptures. Now we will touch something that is something that I'm involved in as well, because I guess I might tell you who I am later. But when it comes to the judicial system, we have judge-only trial for a while, you know. But it's just that the office wasn't called judge, it was called magistrate. Because if the magistrate alone sits there and make a decision based on the information, the magistrate is the tribunal of law and tribunal of fact at the same time. In the High Court, now there are some countries, not because they hear judge only, it doesn't mean it will be a single judge sitting. In some countries, you have maybe 3, 5, 7 judges or even 9 judges sitting based on the seriousness of the offense. So eliminate the jury system, but what happened? You have legal minds who now will be able to judge both on the law and the fact presented to them. Because the system we have is about the accused is tried when it comes to the serious offenses by a jury of his peers. Someone pointed about how the jury system became corrupted. So if the jury system became corrupted, it's not the jury system itself that's become corrupted. The society is corrupted. Because if you want justice, then fairness. Because even though in the society where you had the elders judging, and that is why things change, you know. Things change because people realize after a while someone who up to no good whisper in the ear and corrupt the system. So it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. But it's only as good as the persons are involved.
Can I ask you a question, please, David?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Can I ask you then, in terms of the systems that, when they talk about the status quo and those who make laws, rules, and regulations, I find out something the other day about a bank. What do you call BIS? Bank it called? And oh dear. But it's a bank where the English government, after 1914, and America and some other country decide they wanted to make a bank, and they make this bank over in Sweden, the bank where you could just do all the kind of laundry money and all them things, you know? And they made that bank specifically for that purpose, to clean money. They can put money over there. I could work for a government here, thief money here from this government, and put it over there in the Swiss bank, and the Swiss bank don't tell nobody and have laws and regulations unto themselves in a place called Basel in Sweden. So some things are made purposely to be corrupted, and I do think the judicial system,
but you see what happened,
the judicial system, personally, was made with already tainted, a corrupted system. The
judicial system or justice itself is justice.
Justice is different than, I think, the judicial system.
I'm going to come out. The judicial system is the judicial system. But if you have good people in the judicial system, you'll get good results.
That's right.
If you have corrupt people inside there, because that's the media. The media service is just what it is. But if you have persons who are going to speak bad things, you have a bad media service.
Right.
If you have people who are going to talk good, you have a good media system.
100%.
If you have a book sitting there, the content of the book is just what it is. Whoever will read that book and interpret it could use it for good or bad. If you have a good person read it, use it for good. A bad person read it, use it for bad. It's the same thing with the internet. Same thing with anything in life, because it's not the system, it's the human beings. And therefore, if you have good human beings, you have good. But if you have bad, you have bad.
So David,
and it boils down to, let's say, for example, even when you talk about the Swiss bank, it has rules. And it's not just politicians who would have had their monies there. You have business persons. You have these very criminals that you might want to talk about. You could also have the criminal enterprises. So no one could trace their belongings. So it is not just politicians.
No.
And even when you talk about politicians in everything, you might find one or two persons who do something, but it doesn't mean everyone.
Oh no, please, no, sorry.
It's like that.
Yes, I thank you very much for that, David Pell. I would like to say to the listening audience, if I have generalized and make a blanket statement and say it's all like this, please, because when I use the paintbrush, I don't want people to paint me in a certain way because they say black woman is this and that, and I don't want to be all the negative that they say.
So including yourself, and that's the mistake
right.
some people make.
Yes, so
they say
I
all
hope and
politicians, all judges, all magistrates, all police officers. And if they join that police force today or tomorrow, that means they include themselves. If they have a relative inside there. Oh, but my relatives are angels, God, holy angels, but your relatives inside there, and you said all police are bad. And come to the police system. Police could be your best friend if you're doing good, and your worst enemy if you're doing bad. The same thing with the justice system. The lawmakers is who the persons elected to put inside there to bring the laws. And therefore, if you're saying that system is corrupt, then the people themselves is corrupt. And that's the part, and that's what we're not looking at. So I think we should walk away from it and recognize it's not the system or the people, but there's some persons. And even if yes, there's something you could be called a law that is unconstitutional, and it should be challenged and should be removed. But sometimes I think we judge everything that looks wrong and it is wrong as that's the normal thing, and it is not. Because if any one of you on the program get into that system, then what you're saying you are, no, we shouldn't do that. You know? And we should point out there are some persons who actually do things that are not correct, and some persons do things that are correct. And you know, the funny thing is that the persons who do those things are in the minority. But because it is in our faces, we think it is the normal state of things, and it is not. But before I go, I want to say, once upon a time, policing used to be a community. No, before I go, I just want to say something because we talk about policing. I just want to say something before I go. Everything that you're saying about community, even policing used to be a community police until they realized there were flaws. And then they had to make it professionalized and bring in things to control it or else. Because I am stronger than you, even though you are right, because I'm stronger than you, you will always, and that is where the justice system was formalized to make sure justice is meted out against everybody. So I just wanted to end with that. So
thank you
very much. Probably thanks to Nevis.
Thank you very
thanks
much.
For your contribution.
Thank you so much for that contribution. And Quintessential, thank you so much, dear. I was trembling. I was trying to, but you come in and you do it. So thank you. Big respect.
No problem.
Okay, we got a little time, little time. 45 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes to go before the show done. Woo, I want to put it out there. I don't know if we're going to have time for this though, you know. I want to ask, and don't phone please if you're not going to answer the question. We don't want no more comment, no more statement, no more nothing. We just want this question. Please to somebody to enlighten me and educate I. Where we matter come from? Where, how, where, and how, when, and who? Where it come from? How, who, where? Which matter? What is we matter? Country above self. Above self. So, in the moment, can I ask for this tune, please? Because we're talking about the village. And
we don't play the tunes. I just love to hear you sing the
tune. I want to hear
sing the tune. And that's
I want to hear No Man.
You just sing a little piece
island.
of the tune and that's good enough.
No, but I want to hear the tune.
Well, we hear that. Look, there's melody and harmony in your voice.
Encouragement.
But me no got the scratch like Studio One. Studio One got the little
encouragement. Let's go.
No man is an island. No man stands alone. I don't remember the words neither, you see, dear.
So you were asking the question, where did our motto come from?
Yes,
Country
please.
Above self.
Yes, please.
So anyone out there want to enlighten us? I mean, I think I know, but it's left for the audience to interact.
We're gonna do a countdown because we got to wrap up, and we're not gonna be leaving no untidy bundle before we finish here today. So it's 11:45 a.m. and before we go today, we would like to have an answer to the question. So please, somebody phone in. But I would really like Quintessential to play the music, please, man. I don't remember the word them. No, you're not gonna play it? So you can't play. That rights, what they call it again, something or the other rights. Oh, that one. Well, we have to get the karaoke word them, so I go No man is an island, no man stand alone. Every man needs a brother. I can't remember the words, but I could hum it. But no, I'm gonna
What
get
you
it
could
right.
do is in the future you take little pieces of the song, you get them on the internet. You can hear the words, see the words. You jot down, but you don't do the whole song. Just little pieces that are pertinent. Yeah, because the whole song would take up too much time. We want you to put your emphasis on teaching the people about family unity and African and those kind of stuff.
No man is an island. No man stands alone. And that's as much as you're gonna get right now.
So Africa, what do you want to interject so
What
far?
I want to interject, I want to round up.
Africa. I wanted
Beg your
Africa,
pardon.
yeah.
Talk, brother.
Well, I think we have met our objective. You will notice there are persons in the general public. They're listening, and we have had 4 or 5 calls.
Here's what I want you to do. I don't want our programs to be like every other program. Too many individuals put emphasis on getting calls, and not that we don't want the calls, we want the calls, but don't put the emphasis on people calling to validate you. You validate yourself with the message that you bring. When you bring the message, people want to interact, they call on their own. Okay? Yeah. Don't start judging yourself by the number of calls you get.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, but but it's interactive, and we stimulate. Like I said, we stimulate so that we can get the interaction of others.
And I agree, but I'm saying let the interaction come on its own. Let it be spontaneous. Don't try to, for instance, when Cora says she's going to ask a question, you can do that, but don't say like, okay, we had 4 calls and judge yourself by those standards. That's where we falter as a people. Okay?
Not being judgmental, not in that aspect, but is that we arouse people to call in and interact and share their experiences as even the elders. And then it's a sort of validation, but not a personal one, because we know people are out there listening. And in that said, we expect them to interact, and we appreciate the calls. And so this is just the first snippets of what we intend to do. There's going to be follow-ups. There's going to be ins and outs of some of the things we have already covered. We're going to revisit as needs be, and going forward. It is packed. We already have covered here the next session and the following session and so forth. And Sister More Love, she has the format, and she's going to pass the format on to me, and I will read and peruse, do my research, and follow up on, some areas of research where we can share with others so that they too can do their own research into the content in which we convey here, and as a follow-up. So basically, in a nutshell, that's our objective.
Thank you very much, Brother Africa. Can I just say here that we have in the circle on the 13th Friday coming and the 27th of this month, we have a gathering, and we're going to be looking at Abraham True Ray. I say it wrong, I know, but he's a true ray of light to this dim world that's going on dim energy that's going on in the world.
So down there, and I trying to think of the time. I think it's 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock or something. And I'm trying to find the number 2, which I'm going to do. Can you find that post I sent to you the other day and we find the number and read it off? It's about us again. It's about the village vibe and how we can keep the nation alive in good health and strength. Longevity, we don't want to limp along with a hurt foot. We want to have longevity with good health and strength. We have something called Black Summer, and it's a global solidarity gathering. It's going to be the 4th of July. So people keep your ears tuned to see what's going on. It's about, again, the village vibe, but a global village vibe where we have shared values that no matter where you go, the values are the same. I can leave my child with you and don't feel no pain because I know you have the same values. I just want to do a little roundup here now. Out of some of the things that happened today, we had interaction was going on very strongly on the village vibes when it talks about crops and how we was able to share crops, feed the hungry, feed the dog and all. How we go with the dog? Why say with the dog? What? Not dog?
Yes, food and not dog.
Okay. And Council of Elders. Hey, why you see people out there? We should look at reviving the Council of Elders in the villages. Yeah, man, we got some worthy people out there could judge and do the judicial system in an informal way without pay. The pay would be the blessings from all who.
You see that point you were making about counselors. Back in the day when our leaders encouraged community centers, that was the intent, that every community had a center where the people of the community got there, and the head of the country, the head of that constituency would go there, they would air their views, and he would jot them down, and then they would go into parliament and see what they could implement constituency-wise, and it wound up being island-wise. But we've moved away from that and made it a political thing where whoever is in power, they give somebody the key, no real community spirit, no community orientation and that kind of stuff. So this is why this program that you all are doing about the village is very, very relevant, because we need to go back to the morals of the original village.
Because I guarantee you, from that council of elders setting, the village, the community of Stonefort and Challengers, they would have never come up with a decision, 12 of them sitting there, with a decision to allow the mahogany tree, if they even agree on hewing it down, to allow the material to go astray the way it is. It was one person's decision, made the decision there to allow the tree not to remain in the village no more. Even though it has passed its longevity in that phase. Onto the other phase where it becomes a material form to be in the village with stools and benches. Nicely labeled as a mahogany. Mahogany, the material.
It was red mahogany, I see it.
Yes, as a mahogany. Nicely labeled, there to tell a story because it would have its edge. And we are promoting interaction, inter-island visitors and global tourism. And that she would have been able to provoke a thought in the minds of even our visitors. But foremost, the children, that's who's going to come up and observe it and say, and ask daddy and mommy and grandmother a question about how many times they shade under the tree, or they went to school under the tree. Because in our community, the open setting under the banyan tree is where we learned. And we had to know 10 generations of our narrative. Which is
part of the conversation we had last night.
Until the lion tells his own story, the tale of the hunter will always glorify the hunter. Okay? We have to be in that position to tell our story.
Just a little positive. Don't throw in all the sourness in the ocean, because that's all we're going to have to repeat.
I like that. And that proves another point, that we sit down and we listen to these and cite. People interact wherever they feel they may. Because you see someone like me, I don't call into radio stations. I listen. Because when you listen, you learn. You see? What I'm saying is a lot of people, they may not interact. So know that what you put out there, if it is positive, it will be consumed and so know that what you put out there, if it is positive, it will be consumed and digested. Okay?
Yes.
And digested. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for coming. Brace yourself. Make sure you've got your topics and your issues so that when you come here, just as you did today, you can put it forward to the people in a way that is palatable, that they can consume it, digest it, and if in the future they regurgitate it, it will be to the betterment of humanity.
Okay. Thanks for the invite as always, and we will be back.
Okay. Take care.
Inshallah.
Good day, Africa, and more love.
Good day, guidance and respect, protection always. Thank you so much for listening. And big up to my neighbor, Flower. Big up to. Got so much people on my list and I can't find my list. But Flower will do.
Okay. Do take care.
And respect.
And that is how we bring an end to Voices for today.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.